This week on Unsolved Phenomena. Disclaimer: this program contains dramatizations. However, what remains unchanged is the evidence, eyewitness reports, and facts.
The mystery of the Jamison family disappearances has puzzled investigators for years. Although many theories have developed, none could be proven. These theories included murder, group suicide, a drug deal gone bad, and that the family was targeted by a cult. But there are clues about what happened that are all too often overlooked. I promise you that by the end of this video, we will have formed a new theory. This theory will be based on facts and eyewitness reports by friends and relatives of the Jamison family. The Jamisons lived in Eufaula, Oklahoma in the USA in a large $300,000 home on waterfront property. The inside of the home was said to have been furnished with the latest decor, and everything in the home was very high-end and expensive. However, neither of the Jamisons had a job and were receiving disability paychecks. These paychecks are usually quite small, and later on, this would puzzle investigators and police. In 2002, Bobby and Sherilynn Jamison got married. On August 1st, 2003, they had a daughter named Madyson. In November 2003, Bobby was in a serious automobile accident which left him with severe back pain for the rest of his life. Friends and relatives of the Jamisons would say that Bobby's pain was so bad that he could barely even walk around his own home without being in a lot of pain. Bobby was prescribed and taking strong painkillers because of this. Sherilynn was also on medication for bipolar disorder and depression, but on her better days she would invite friends to the home. Several of them noticed that Sherilynn had a book on witchcraft that she would often read and even performed rituals while her friends were at the home. Her friends didn't take Sherilynn too seriously, and they just thought it was a form of skeptical entertainment. By all appearances, the Jamisons loved their daughter Madyson very much, and it is said that they would do anything for her. Also, the Jamisons took many pictures of their daughter. This would be an important clue later on, because friends of the Jamisons said that whenever they took a picture of Madyson, because she loved her parents very much, Madyson always looked at the camera and smiled. Somehow, the Jamisons were able to afford to hire a man or a butler to stay at their home and perform chores around the house that Bobby could not do because of his back pain. Eventually, the man made advances to Sherilynn, but when he found out that she was part Native American, the man told her that she did not deserve to live. Sherilynn then pointed a .22 caliber pistol at the man's feet and began shooting. The man left the home and never came back. In July 2009, Sherilynn began telling friends and relatives that her 6-year-old daughter Madyson had been speaking to spirits inside the home. Later on, Sherilynn began telling people that now both she and Madyson were speaking to spirits inside the home. Following this, Bobby started to tell his friends and relatives that not only had Sherilynn and Madyson been speaking to spirits, but that now he had seen both inside the home and on the roof. He had seen demons. Everyone was shocked when they heard this, because Bobby up until this point wasn't known to participate or believe in the paranormal or unnatural phenomena. Friends who visited the Jamisons' home later would witness strange events. They would see little notes scratched by Sherilynn and left throughout the home, which read, "Get out, Satan," and "Leave us, demons." One friend stated that while she sat on the sofa in the Jamisons' home, that a gray mist came down the stairs. Upon seeing this, the friend quickly left the home and said they had an awful feeling of gloom and horror while doing so. The Jamisons also had a large Connex box in their yard, and Sherilynn began to spray paint chaotic phrases such as, 3 black cats killed by people in this area, and witches don't like their cats being killed. Sherilynn would also tell people that Bobby had always been a gentle and loving husband, but that recently on a couple of occasions his eyes became blank, black, and void, and that he came at her. Bobby would tell his pastor that he had bought a satanic Bible and that he had been reading it in an attempt to exorcise his home. He asked his pastor if there were any kind of special bullets that would kill demons because these demons were trying to kill Bobby. He also told his pastor that he believed that 3 or 4 demons were living both inside and on the roof of his home. After the pastor made a visit to the home, he would later state that the Jamisons were indeed involved in spiritual warfare. On October 2nd, 2009, Madyson suffered an injury while she was on the playground at school. A swing had hit her and knocked out her front teeth. Bobby and Sherilynn were enraged about this and promptly took their child out of the public school system and threatened to sue. They also planned to enroll Madyson in a high-end private school later. On October 7th, 2009, the Jamisons packed up their pickup truck and went to view a 40-acre plot of land that they were interested in buying. The location was about 30 miles southeast of their home in Eufaula on the Panola mountain. They told the real estate agent that they were seeking some place that was more private to live. This was odd because Eufaula's population was already very low. It's as if they wanted to live in the middle of nowhere. They planned to move the Conex box from their home in Eufaula to the mountain so that they could live in the storage container. The Jamisons drove around the rural dirt road on the mountain for hours. At some point they stopped their truck and got out, and according to the pings that were later found on Bobby's phone, walked about 200 yards away and took one last photo of their daughter Madyson. None of the Jamisons' friends or relatives knew about their plan to move. On the next day, October 8th, 2009, the Jamisons again packed up their things to take on their trip to the mountain. Later, police would view footage from security cameras at the Jamisons' home and stated that their behavior was very bizarre while they loaded the pickup truck. According to the police, one of them would bring an item out of the house and put it in the truck, and then the other would take the item out of the truck and take it back to the house. This happened over and over. Police would remark that it took the Jamisons a very long time to pack because of this. Also, the Jamisons changed their clothes multiple times while they were packing the truck, and at times they would stop and stare into the distance for long periods as though they were in a trance. Finally, the Jamisons left the house and went back to the mountain.
He was driving down the right lane when ahead he saw a sign, and he had to make a left turn, but he could not get in line. And the tears were streaming down his cheeks, and they all heard him yell, "Give me 40 sticks of dynamite, I'll blow this thing to give me 40 acres, and I'll turn this rig around. It's the easiest way that I've found. Some guys can turn it on a dime or turn it right downtown, but I need 40 acres to..."
8 days later, some hunters reported the Jamisons' abandoned truck on a dirt road on Panola Mountain. When police arrived, they weren't too concerned until a hunter told them that the truck had been sitting there for many days. When police looked in the truck, they saw the Jamisons' pet dog barely alive. The police entered the truck and saved the dog. They would also find strange things inside the truck. Amongst what appeared to be large chaotic piles of trash, they found the Jamisons' overcoats, which was concerning because the weather had been cold and rainy over the past few nights. They found an 11-page hate letter written by Sherilynn about her husband Bobby, and underneath piles of junk and trash, they found $32,000 in cash. Perhaps the most chilling thing police would find was Bobby's phone. On it, a recent photo of their daughter Madyson had been taken. According to the phone ping, the police were able to find the location of where the photo was taken. It was about 200 yards away from the truck near some rocks. The police observed a lot of footprints on the ground there. Before we take a look at that last photo, let's once again take a look at some of the photos of Madyson that were taken in the weeks and months prior to them disappearing. As we can see, Madyson always had the same expression whenever her parents took her picture. Just as friends of the Jamisons stated, she loved her picture being taken, and that she loved her parents very much, and that she would always look into the camera and smile whenever her parents took her picture. This is the last photo that was taken of Madyson that was found by police on Bobby's phone, and it was taken on the mountain. Upon seeing the picture, friends and relatives were shocked, saying that Madyson's behavior did not seem natural, and that something is wrong in the photo, and that her demeanor does not seem normal. Police searched for the Jamisons with over 100 people helping. Eventually the search was called off because of inclement weather, mud, and the rough terrain. 4 years later, hunters would find the bones of the Jamisons 3 miles away from where their truck had been found. The 3 skeletons were found lying face down and side by side together. Bobby's skull had a small hole in it, but the other skulls did not. It is possible that animal predation could have caused the hole after Bobby died. What is most striking is how did Bobby manage to make it walking 3 miles through a very dense forest, hills and slopes, jagged rocks, thorns, on a mountain, with his back pain. Bobby could barely even walk around in his own house with pain. There are documented cases of demonic possession dated back to the Middle Ages for the skeptics in the past. Some have even been documented by professional investigators and police. In 1634, the Loudon possessions occurred. Convent nuns accused a priest of summoning Asmodi, the prince of demons. The nuns claimed to lust and to see dead people. In 1778, English prospector George Lukens was behaving oddly, growling and hissing, speaking in strange voices, and singing religious hymns backwards. A ceremony was held in Bristol's Temple Church. There, 7 priests commanded the demons who apparently had taken over Lukens' soul to leave, once and for all. When the ceremony was over, Lukens recited the Lord's Prayer and thanked the priest. In 1842, German villagers noticed strange events at the home of a 28-year-old woman named Gottlieben Dieters. Dieters claimed that her house was haunted and soon began slipping in and out of what eyewitnesses said was trance-like states. But when a pastor commenced an exorcism, things really went nuts. Dieters became violent and required physical restraint. For 2 torturous years, the pastor performed various exorcism rites. Dieters vomited glass, nails, and blood, of course. Finally, Dieters informed everyone the demons were gone and stated that Jesus is victor. The exorcism of Gina was a case that Reverend James LaBarre oversaw 3 purifications, which were sanctioned by the Archbishop of New York, Cardinal John O'Connor, and the Vatican. The event was televised by the ABC network in 1991. Gina was strapped to a chair. She screamed and barked indistinctly while the Reverend pressed a cross into her face and told her supposed demons that if they wanted pain, he'd give it to them.
What is you get?
In 2011, the Ammons hauntings in Gary, Indiana occurred. Dark, shadowy figures roamed throughout the house and eventually demonically possessed a 7-year-old boy. The boy would walk on walls and upside down on the ceilings, and he even did this in the hospital when he was taken there. He also displayed superhuman strength. Mrs. Almans called the police and informed them that something was wrong with the home. When the police arrived, they accused her of child abuse, but she told them no, she had not done that, and that something was wrong with the home and that she thought it was haunted. The police evacuated the home and sent in 2 investigators. They searched the first floor of the home, and then they made their way down to the basement. In the basement, they reported seeing a white mist moving around and a green mist moving around under the stairwell. The investigators were also carrying an audio recording device, and once they concluded their search, they went back outside and listened to the audio recorder. There was a strange and unknown voice on the audio recorder that yelled, "Hey!" All of this was documented in official police reports. Based on the evidence and facts here in the Jamison's case, the theory is that the family could have been demonically possessed. For example, Sherilynn and Madyson had been speaking to spirits, and Bobby had seen demons both inside the home and on the roof. Sherilynn would tell her friends that she believed that Bobby was demonically possessed at one point, and his eyes were blank and black and void. And Sherilynn was heavily into witchcraft and always practicing rituals and spells, according to friends. And then there's the one last photo of Madyson, and her own family members couldn't believe it, saying that her behavior didn't seem normal in the picture, and they commented about her eye color being very blank, black, and void, and that her overall posture seemed very strange for a 6-year-old child with the arms crossed and just looks kind of twisted and contorted. It is possible that the entire Jamison family was demonically possessed, and when they got to the top of the mountain, the demon which possessed him emerged. According to the official police report, the police suspected the Jamisons of being scammers. Now, whether this is like the Indian call center scammers or some other kind of scammers, it removes some of the pity from this case, because the Jamisons were suspected of taking money from poor and innocent people. This would explain how they had such an expensive home, and they were known for riding around with large sums of cash, yet neither one of the Jamisons had a job. It is important to get an understanding of all the evidence in this case, including the paranormal. The viewer deserves to know about this part of the case. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.